ties perfectly into our message today. What a coincidence. We will move into our meditation time. Invite you to close your outer eyes, relax, let go of all your thoughts. As the Daily Word said, ruminating. Let go of ruminating right now. And just breathe and feel the peace. As we quiet the mind, we allow the still small voice of God to become amplified. It's always there, but sometimes it gets drowned out by the clatter. We invite that voice to guide us and remind us to let go and let God. To remind us that all is well. Allow the music now to take you on a very sacred personal journey into the peace of God. Very gently now begin to bring your attention, your consciousness back to this time, this place, this sacred sanctuary where we come to remember the truth of who we are and to share that truth with each other. Then we take that out into the world and share it with everyone we come in contact with, whether externally or in thought, reminding us all to let go and let God. Thank you, Great Spirit, Father, Mother, God, and so it is. Amen. Angelina will now lead us in singing the Lord's Prayer, and I will speak the Aramaic. Abund Boashmaya.
which art in heaven,
Need to Kadashmach.
hallowed be
Tete Malkuta.
thy name. Thy kingdom come,
Nechwide Savinach.
thy will be done
I Kana.
on earth
Boashmaya.
as it is
O Baracha.
in heaven. Give us this day
Haula Lachma.
our day.
Lesugnan Yalmana.
And forgive us our debts
Washwoklan Habain.
as we
I Kana Dafnan.
forgive our debtors.
Shwaken El Hayabain.
And lead us not
Ula Talan.
in temptation,
El Nisiona.
but deliver us
Ela Pasan.
from error.
Min Visha.
For thine is the kingdom,
Vital de Laki Malkuta. Uhala Utit Bokta.
and the glory forever.
La Alam Almin. Amen. And we invite you to breathe these words in, these words given to us by Jesus the way shower, to remind us that we were meant to experience heaven right here, right now. And so it is. Amen. So today's message is there's no such thing as rejection. Talking about one of my most favorite subjects that's given me some of the most challenging times of my life. Rejection. Raise your hand if you felt rejected before in your life. How's that feel? Not so good. Feeling rejected is the human ego's way of feeling that things aren't in a divine order. As we learn to let go and let God, we trust more that things are in divine order, even and especially when they don't go the way we have planned. One of the first things I ever learned in Unity, I started going in 1984, was if you want to make God laugh, tell her your plans. Because we can have a basic idea, but there's a higher spiritual law than our basic idea. We're co-creating with 7 billion other people, creating these wonderful, divine, orderly things. And so it's very important not to get caught up in rejection.
Well, I love both let go, let God, and divine order because, I'm kind of a control freak and I like everything in my, And so, if you let go, let God, that's letting go of your control of wanting everything to be a certain way. And divine order, there's nothing really, we live by divine order because, there's nothing greater than knowing that everything's in divine order.
Absolutely. And so rejection, to me, we allow ourselves to feel for a moment. Oh, that feels like rejection before we go into our spiritual principles. If you bring your spiritual principles out too quickly, then your emotions and physical body don't get to express what they're feeling. Okay, if you ever saw the movie Inside Out, it's a Disney animated Pixar movie. They taught us in that movie that all the emotions need to be dealt with. It's like a car full of kids. You need to listen to what they all have to say, or they're going to start screaming and make it really difficult for you to drive. But you have to hold the wheel, okay? You have to decide what you're doing, where you're going, how you're getting there. But listen to those other voices, and those emotional voices need to be heard as well. We like to say this: grief and anger and depression and rejection, you all need to visit there from time to time. Sadness, thank you. But you don't want to buy property there.
Right.
And some people go there and they buy property there and they get stuck. The desire is to go there, feel the human feelings, then bring your tools in, trust, let go, let God, have faith, and move on. And then you get back into that nice alignment, what Abraham Hicks calls the vortex. You get back in the vortex. See, it's not an or thing, it's an and. Feel the other emotions too, and get back to faith, okay? One of the things that bugs me about speakers is when they use this honorable platform to self-promote. I would like to read something from my book. Anyway,
Clever, Armand.
so this is one little page from my book. I now pronounce you not guilty. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that. Do you know, when you laugh at me, it just encourages me to do more. I just want you to know that. So this chapter is called Faith in the System, which again is another word for letting go and letting God. Everything will be okay as soon as you are okay with everything. And that's the only time everything will be okay. Michael Singer, the author of The Untethered Soul. Now, when he says, as soon as you're okay with everything, doesn't mean you're okay in every single moment with everything. Are we okay that there's a war in Ukraine? Not really. But if we are okay with the big picture, knowing that all is working the way it's supposed to, it'll save us a lot of grief, okay? So we use our spiritual tools, not instead of our human emotions, to help us through our human emotions. Faith, F-A-I-T-H, has been said to stand for feeling all right in the heart, okay? Feeling all right in the heart does not mean we always understand everything. It doesn't mean we don't get confused. It just means that we trust, as John Lennon said, everything will be okay in the end. Being confused is okay. Thinking that there is something wrong with us for being confused is the problem. Over-ruminating on all the stuff we've ever done terrible. As Byron Katie says, how do I know it was meant to happen that way? Because it happened that way. Now that sounds very simple, doesn't it? Just because it's simple does not mean it's easy, okay? It does not mean it's easy, but if we can learn to get to that point. Anybody watch Ted Lasso? Okay, so we are huge Ted Lasso fans. He's our hero. I highly recommend you check him out. He's got a TV show on Apple TV. We are in no way connected with that, so we get no royalties. But Ted Lasso, he talks about what happens to us as humans when we beat ourselves up for something we did in the past. Anybody ever done that? So I'm going to give you two things. One that I got very recently from Ted Lasso. He says, you know what the happiest animal on earth is? You Ted Lasso people know. It's a goldfish. Do you know why? Shortest memory. Be a goldfish, people. Forget the stuff you've done wrong. And then recently we saw another movie on Ted Lasso on Apple TV called The Sky is Everywhere, I believe. And this young lady had like a sort of a hippie kind of a unity kind of uncle. And she said, what if I did something really, 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 really bad? He said, don't do it again. If we can learn to do that with ourselves, learn the lesson, feel the remorse, make the amends, whatever we got to do, and just commit not to doing that again and use that as a learning. Again, there's no such thing as rejection.
And usually that kind of situation will give you wisdom, right?
Wisdom. One of the greatest things about getting older, wisdom. Yes. Angelina recently started her 7th decade of life. Yay. Yes. And there's a lot of wisdom.
There is a lot.
You probably have heard this before. Where does good judgment come from? It comes from experience. And where does experience come from? Bad judgment, yes.
Right.
So again.
But wait a minute, Armand. You might be confusing them.
So because Angelina
You confused me.
just turned 60, she has started her 7th decade of life. So she doesn't even know how old she is, because when she turned 59, I said, "You're in your 60th year." She goes, "Please don't age me." You know?
Right.
But I put that on
So he
Facebook.
put it on Facebook, and people are going, "Boy, you look great for 70." So I'm 60. I still have 10 more years.
So here's the deal. If there's no such thing as rejection, and everything is moving us to a higher vibration, then we can even get rid of the idea of mistake. See, God doesn't make mistakes. We changed the word from mistake to a softer, more gentle word. Oops. So rather than Angelina go, "Oh, I just made the most horrible mistake," she'll go, "I made a oops. I got to show you. I spilled the clam chowder all over the kitchen floor." You know, something like that. It's an oops, and we learn from it, and we become better. So years and years ago, we have these wonderful Unity tools that we use all the time. Raise your hand if you had to use your principles more in the last 2 years than ever in your life. I know we have. The great pause really forced us to go deep, really go deep. For me, it was really challenging on many ways, but one of the worst challenges was I no longer felt like the breadwinner, and I no longer felt like I had purpose. Now, Wayne Dyer said years ago, if you are what you do, then when you don't, you aren't. So you're not what you do. And I thought I had embodied that, which was easy because I was able to do this all the time. But once it went away, I had to go deeper and realize I had attached myself to it. I was getting a lot of my validation and self-worth in providing and making money and blah, blah, blah. And when that went away, I went into depression. Now, I managed to make my way out of it, and I learned a lot, and I am in a much better place than I was, partially because of the depression. I even changed the name of depression. Deep expression. It's a deep expression. And again, I didn't buy property there, but I visited it, and it was ugly. It was not fun. But I visited it, I went there, and then I was able to get out of it. Now, Angelina had a little bit different experience during the Great Pause.
I did. So I'm more of the shy introvert type. And so, excuse me, it's very important for me to be home. We're on the road a lot, like 260 days a year. And so I always feel like I'm not home enough. I don't have, that's where I recharge, being an introvert. And I always feel like I'm not home enough. I don't get home stuff done. And I found that I was getting a little burned out. And I didn't realize it till we had the great pause and were stuck at home. For me, I got all the house stuff, a house in order, garage cleaned out, closets cleaned out.
The pantry looks great.
But what also happened is I had a lump in my throat for like 3 years. And when I went to the doctor, he said, nothing's with your vocal cords. It's just something called a global sensation. And they don't really know what causes it, but a lot of times they think that anxiety and stress causes it. So during that time being home, I no longer have a lump in my throat. So I am really grateful for, thank you, yes. So I am grateful for that time because I needed it.
So what I said was, okay, God, we overdid it in 2019. We underdid it in 2020. Can we find something in the middle? And that's what wisdom is all about. Abraham Hicks also says, sometimes you have to live in a place with not enough closets to learn that you want a place with more closets. So when things aren't going the way you want them, you learn more what you want sometimes from having the negative stuff happen to you than you do when everything's just going your way. And so we've been using our tools, bringing every unity principle out that we've ever learned.
And we, especially for you, have make sure you get a lot of vitamin C.
The second vitamin C,
right.
Vitamin Connect. And we love you out there in Zoom land, but there is something you will get in this room with these people that you cannot get there out in Zoom land. And I was really getting like an emotional scurvy from not enough vitamin Connect. So she started seeing me sitting around the house being depressed, and she said, I'm going out today. I got to go get some stuff. You want to come? And I go, no. She goes, please come with me. I go, where are you going? She goes, Joann's Fabrics. I said, I'm not going there. She says, but then I'm going to go.
You need to be around people.
Then I'm going to go to Hobby Lobby. I said, please, God, don't make me go there. But she made me. She kind of made me. She says, young man, get your butt up and get dressed. We're going out. And it really was brilliant. She's, you know, a lot of people that know us well know that Angelina has a husband and a special needs child. All in one. And it's funny, but it's also true. And so she said, get your butt out there. So then one day she says, I said, where are we going today? She goes, we're going to Old Time Pottery. I said, please, God, don't make me go there. She took me there. I had a great time. I'm entertaining
Then you
everybody.
start going, where are we going today? I can't wait.
And it really helped me. And what I realized in studying, one of the biggest challenges with the Great Pause was deficiency of connection. Okay? We've got to find a way, if anything like this ever happens again, that we honor the physical responsibility that we need to honor, but also honor the mental, emotional stuff that happens if we go too far the other extreme and isolate ourselves from our brothers and sisters. So that's another trick. I'm sure that we'll do things better. We get better over time. So years ago, we were up in New Jersey doing our very first New Jersey tour. And when I heard we were going to New Jersey, I'm like getting, my dad was born in New Jersey. I can be like, hey, how you doing? I was the only one in the whole state that talked like this, Forget about it, Hey, you know how you do artificial respiration in New Jersey? Get the hell up, Anyway, so I was thank you. So I was loving being in New Jersey. I feel like I was connecting with my Italian homeland, and my friend said, I want to take you out to a fabulous Italian restaurant, famous for their eggplant parmesan. Now I said, oh, that's great. Now I'm actually Cajun and Italian, so my favorite food is crawfish parmesan. Anyway, so she took me there, and they were closed. And as you know, a lot of restaurants will close on Mondays. That'll be their day off. And so it was a Monday, and they were closed, and I felt that rejection. Oh, I really wanted to go. I was so excited. There was disappointment and rejection feeling. See, when we have expectations, it leads to disappointment. It leads to feeling rejected, expectations. And again, it's natural and human to have some of it, but we can rise above that by letting go and letting God. So she said to me, don't worry about it, Armand. There's no such thing as rejection. It's God pointing us in another direction. Now, not only is that an awesome slogan that will save you a lot of disappointment and save you a lot of feeling of rejection, but it rhymes. Don't give a songwriter something that rhymes. So one day I go, there's no such thing as rejection. It's God pointing us in another direction. Na, 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 na. Oi! And I realized I'd written a pirate song. My first pirate song. How much does it cost for a pirate to get their ears pierced? About a buccaneer. Arr. Where does a pirate get their hook? From the second-hand shop. All right, thank you very much. What's a pirate's favorite fast food restaurant? Arby's. And last but not least, what's a pirate's favorite sport? Archery. Okay, honey, I think we better sing the song before I get in any more trouble. So we want you to sing along with us. This is, there's no such thing as rejection. It's God pointing us in another direction. Okay. And it's a pirate song. Arr. There's no such thing as rejection. It's God pointing us in another direction. It's never rejection. It's God pointing us in another direction. Oi! Na, 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 na. There's no such thing as rejection. It's God putting us in another direction. It's never rejection. It's God putting us in another direction. Na, 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 na. On the day that I was born and slapped upon my cheeks, you'd think that I would ascertain the world is rather bleak. But I heard a voice of wisdom, and in my ear would ring, don't think the world is against you, 'cause there's no such thing. Don't think the world is against you, cause there's no such thing. Your turn. Na, 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 na. There's no such thing as rejection. It's God pointing us in another direction. It's never rejection. It's God pointing us in another direction. Na, 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 na. At an early age, I knew true love would be my quest. Though many trials and tribulations put me through the test, there were a dozen lovely maidens, much heartache they would bring. I thought the world was against me, but there's no such thing. I thought the world was against me, but there's no such thing. Your turn. Na, 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 na. There's no such thing as rejection. It's God pointing us in another direction. It's never rejection. It's God pointing us in another direction. Na, 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 na. I'm moving through my renaissance into my middle ages, becoming fully realized. I trust my inner sages. My quest is done, I found my bride. This holy grail I bring. You know what it is? There's no such thing as rejection. There's no such thing. There's no such thing as rejection. No, there's no such thing. Oi! Na, 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 na. Thank you, my lords and ladies. So before we end, I want to remind you that all of us have had many, many requests from Spirit that didn't get answered the way we wanted them to get answered. We've had jobs we wanted to last forever that didn't last forever, and we found something better. We've had situations that we wanted to happen a certain way, and they didn't, and we found something better by letting go and letting God. I always say this, I'm really good on my own, but I'm great when I let go and let God, okay? Many of us made a prayer, dear God, please let this first marriage last forever, and it didn't, and it turned out good.
Yeah.
Right? Most of us have been through some of that and things that really broke our heart because we felt that it was wrong, and it turned out to be very healthy and very good for us. So I'm going to finish up this message, No Such Thing as Rejection, with one last pirate joke. What's a pirate's favorite letter? R. You'd think it was R, but we fancy the C. Thank you for having us. And now a word from our sponsor.
Oh, I ain't God.
Okay. Yeah, yes, you are.
Oh, thank you, thank you. What a wonderful treat. So now is our time of love offering. This is when we get to participate as the abundant hand of God in action. If you're at home, you can donate either on our website or send us a check. If you are here, you can, or at home, you can take your offerings and hold them in your hands, and we place them over our hearts, knowing that as abundance in action, we are doing God's work now. As we all say together, our love offering blessing. Divine love, moving through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
And we're going to take you to the islands now. And we are not going to do cultural appropriation. We're going to do cultural appreciation. This is a little island song called Everything Will Be Okay in the End. If it's not okay, it's not the end. That's it. Everything is Irie, man. Oh, we got dancing in the aisles now. I see that. Here we go. Everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. Everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. Nothing in this universe will ever last. So if you're feeling low, this too shall pass. Nothing in this universe will ever last. So if you're feeling low, this too shall pass. Because everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. Everything will be okay in the end. There they go. If it's not okay, it's not the end. We're gonna sha-la-la-la. Sha-la-la-la-la. Sha-la-la-la-la-la. Every happy song has to have some sha-la-la-la. Sha-la-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la-la-la. Even when the darkness seems to hide your way, after every night, a brand new day. Even when the darkness seems to hide your way, after every night, a brand new day. In Florida, a brand new day. We got a sunny day. All right, here we go. Everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. Everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. You get the sha-la-la again. Sha-la-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la-la-la. Sha-la-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la-la-la. All right, here comes the tricky part, Unity people. Even when it all just seems to go your way, don't get attached, it's gonna change. Even when it all just seems to go your way, no matter how many times you saw The Secret, it's still gonna change. That's okay, because everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. Do the funky chicken. Everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. It's not the end. It's not the end. So if you don't like the weather, wait a day. It's not the end. It's not the end. If you can't believe all they do is talk about politics, it's not the end. It's not the end. Oh, do the old man dance. It's not the end. And this is the end. Nice dancing out there, by the way. That's a rarity.
Ah.